Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder. First and foremost, I do have to apologize that there was no episode last night. If you didn't know, I was actually competing at Apex for Pokemon VGC, since they did have a Pokemon event there with around 90 to 100 entrants. And if you were able to catch the stream, or you follow me on Facebook or Twitter at all, you'll know that I actually ended up winning the entire tournament undefeated, which was really cool. It was awesome because all my games were actually on stream as well. They did stream it on Team Spooky. I think he'll be putting up the archives up very soon, so if you do want to watch those matches, they should be up online. So I decided I would feature, the team I brought to Apex and ended up winning with in today's episode. As you do see there, I do have a Venusaur. It is Mega Venusaur, and it definitely was one of the best members on the team, so I'm kind of excited to try it out. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ended up winning, obviously. There were a lot of great players, so being able to win was awesome, and I did get a chance to jump on commentary as well, so if you saw that, it was pretty cool, especially because I got to commentate with Shady Penguin, which was absolutely awesome. But we're going to jump into today's episode with a rating of 18-13, and of course the team is Gengar, Terrakion, Heatran, Suicune, Bisharp, and Mega Venusaur. Also, in addition, there should be another episode going up after this one, as Macros with the rating of 1798 from California is going to be our first opponent of the day, with a very interesting team. Wow. But yeah, you can expect 2 episodes today just because I want to make up for missing one yesterday, so keep your eyes open for that. It'll probably be posted maybe 1 or 2 hours after this one goes up, but plenty of VGC content for you today. I'll also be doing a team analysis on this team very soon. It might be a while. I might want to wait the 2 weeks just because St. Louis and Florida regionals are coming up, and I actually might end up going to Florida now that I won Apex, and that can fully fund my trip there. We'll see. But yeah, I do want to keep some EV spreads secret for now, just because I might potentially use them. I don't want to get counter teamed with EV spreads specifically, but I'll have to do some thinking about it. Anyway, my opponent here has a team of Scizor, Mega Altaria, I'm assuming, Hydreigon, Raikou, Staraptor, and Milotic. That's a really interesting team. Bunch of Pokemon immediately jump out to me. Honestly, everything but Hydreigon and Milotic are super interesting. Even Milotic is pretty interesting, and this definitely isn't your standard kind of team, especially the Mega Altaria. That one is definitely the most interesting team, I think, on my opponent's side. So let's see. Raikou is an interesting support Pokemon because it gets access to Snarl, which I think is pretty solid. Of course, my Suicune does carry Snarl as well, so a lot of you guys, or not a lot, but a fair amount of you guys have been asking about Mega Altaria, and this will be my first time actually playing against it, so this should be pretty interesting. Now let's see. The Staraptor might be the scariest thing on my opponent's end. I think I'm going to lead with Gengar and Suicune. I don't mind that. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Who do I want in the back? Oh, this is a really tough call, actually. I think I'm gonna go with Heatran and... Ooh, okay. I went with Heatran and Bisharp. I'm not sure there. I think Mega Venusaur might have been a better choice in retrospect. But I really did want to counter the Mega Altaria as hard as I could. So let's see how this plays out. It should be an interesting match, as I go with my Gengar and Suicune leads against my opponent's Altaria and Raikou. Okay. Honestly, don't know what to expect right now. Cloud9. I could just Icy Wind here and switch out Suicune to take a potential T-Bolt into Heatran. I think I'm going to go for this play, yeah. Also, if Altaria goes for a Dragon type attack, I can take that. Icy Wind will decrease both Pokemon's speed. I just don't want this Suicune taking too much damage right now, just because it actually does pretty well against the rest of my opponent's team. So I'm going to want to switch out just because Thunderbolt does a ton of damage. Besides electric type and grass type attacks, though, it is relatively difficult to hit Suicune, so it's one of those Pokemon where it can take a lot of damage quickly from super effective attacks, but if you conserve it well enough, your opponent will have a very difficult time KOing it. Just because most teams maybe have 1 electric Pokemon, maybe 2 at most, 1 grass type Pokemon, maybe 2 at most. So if you play smartly with Suicune, you will be able to conserve it. But of course, when you pull out a switch in VGC and in general, you do put yourself at the risk of your opponent predicting the switch and making some big plays. But let's see. I'm going to get in my Heatran here. Raikou goes straight for the Thunderbolt into Gengar. Good play there. That's fine. I'm going to get an Icy Wind off, as it's Life Orb Raikou. Wow, interesting. Icy Wind does connect with both Pokemon, unfortunately, which is great. And Altaria didn't Mega Evolve, so that Icy Wind does over 50%, which is kind of crazy. Let's see who it targeted, though. Did it target the Suicune slot? It goes for the Tailwind. Excellent play by my opponent there. Very nice. Predicting that Suicune would not stay in, so while I did get the Icy Wind off, he got a Tailwind up, which means his Pokemon are still going to be able to outspeed mine, and that's pretty problematic right now for me. Oh no, let's see. Having Bisharp in the back I think does help. I think honestly I'm just going to Icy Wind here. I'm expecting to lose my Gengar, honestly, and I'm just going to Heat Wave. He's probably going to target down the Gengar with a attack from Altaria, and Raikou's probably going to want to T-Bolt Heatran. I'm thinking I can knock out Raikou with the Heat Wave. Maybe not, but even if not, it'll be definitely under 10%, so enough for it to KO itself after Life Orb. But very good play on my opponents in that first turn, predicting Suicune would not stay in. And that is what I meant, you know, when you do pull out a switch, your opponent can take advantage of that, knowing that, you know, he can gain some more momentum on his end. So, I think that was a really good play, and that definitely sets me back a bit. If Altaria didn't go for the Tailwind here, as it actually switches out, which is interesting. Now, if Raikou has HP Ground, I might be in some trouble, but let's see. Hydreigon comes in for my opponent there. As Raikou actually goes for a Protect, I don't really agree with that play. Not only did that burn a turn of Tailwind for my opponent, but it's gonna allow me to get an Icy Wind off against that Hydreigon, as well as a Heat Wave, which is actually gonna do substantial damage here. So, I can see what my opponent was going for, but at the same time, I'm not going to complain at all because I just got over 50% of free damage on Hydreigon and wasted a turn of Trick Room, or Tailwind, excuse me. However, things are still kind of tricky right now. I do have 2 turns of Tailwind to stall out. Hydreigon does have the chance of carrying Earth Power, which I honestly expected to. So he might just T-Bolt Gengar and Earth Power here, and the main issue is I don't have good switch-ins for to take those attacks. Let's see. I do think Gengar is kind of important in this matchup because after the Icy Wind, if I do sell out Tailwind, this is tricky. This is tricky. Suicune maybe was not the right Pokemon to bring into this match. Like I said, I do regret not bringing the Mega Venusaur instead. I really think that Hydreigon's gonna have Earth Power. So you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna Sludge Bomb Hydreigon, switch Heatran out to Suicune. Now, the one risk of this play here is if he just T-Bolts the Heatran and Dark Pulses the Gengar slot. So let's see. If that's the play my opponent makes. Extra Sensory coming out, though. That's a silly move to use in my opinion. I think Thunderbolt just makes more sense. Oh, though I guess it could have been predicting a Venusaur switch in, so it makes a bit more sense. Let's see. Yep, it does. There is the Earth Power coming out from the Hydreigon as I anticipated it might have. It does a good amount to the Suicune there. So let's see. I can bring in Bisharp and Sucker Punch can knock out Raikou. So now it comes down to, does he protect with Raikou? Because he could just protect and Earth Power my Bisharp for a knockout. Tough call to make here. Alternatively, it might just, you know, T-Bolt Suicune and Earth Power Bisharp. So if that is the case, then I could knock out Raikou, I can knock out Hydreigon with an Ice Beam. I don't know. I feel like Raikou's gonna protect here. I just have a feeling. But if it doesn't protect, then I'm done for. That's the issue. If I predict to protect and it doesn't protect. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. I think it's gonna protect. And I'm gonna try to Ice Beam this Hydreigon. Raikou switches out, perfect with me, fine by me. As Altaria comes out, that's perfect because it means, yeah, it means that I'm not going to be losing the Bisharp here, unless the Hydreigon, for example, opted to Draco Meteor the Suicune, but I think it's going to Earth Power. Yep, perfect. I do get the Ice Beam off there against the Hydreigon. Should it knock it out? Yes, it does. Okay, so that was really good. That definitely a play I needed to try to get back into this match as Tailwind does peter out as well. Alright, so that was a good turn. Raikou comes back in. I'm fine. It is in Sucker Punch KO range at this point. Real question is what Altaria is going to want to do. It's not a Pokemon I'm very familiar with, but I don't think it can really hit the Bishop for much. Though I guess it could Mega Evolve and go for like a Moonblast. So you know what? I'm gonna Sucker Punch Raikou. If it protects and Altaria tries to knock out Bishop, then I get my Tailwind up for free. We'll see if Raikou goes for the Protect here or not, though. This is a pretty intense battle, actually, and I really do like my opponent's team. Raikou is definitely an interesting pick because it is definitely one of the more offensive legendaries. You know, we see other electric types like Zapdos or Thundurus being used for more defensive roles, but this Life Orb, Thunderbolt, and Extra Sensory, which I definitely did not expect, is definitely threatening. Altaria here is going to Mega Evolve finally, so revealing it is Mega Altaria. Curious as to why I didn't Mega Evolve in the first turn, because that did so much damage. Raikou does go for the Protect. Good play on my opponent's end. What does Altaria go for? Does it... Okay, Sucker Punch fails. The Hyper Voice comes out. Is that going to knock me out, though? I don't think so. As it doesn't, but it does do a ton of damage. But I do get the Tailwind up here, which is fantastic for me. So that's great news. Oh, now let's see. Not sure how much I can really do with an Ice Beam here. I kind of want to just Iron Head to knock out the Altaria. Let's see. Who does my opponent have in the back? That's the question right now. If it's my Lodic, I might be in some trouble. Heatran deals with Scizor. I'm hoping it's Scizor. Actually, Staraptor and my Lodic both give me a fair amount of issue. You know what? I'm just going to knock off Raikou and Ice Beam the Altaria. I don't think Ice Beam can knock out Altaria, though. That's the main issue right now. But let's see. Mega Altaria, man, that's interesting, especially with Tailwind. I think that was a really clutch Tailwind on its end the first turn. Definitely caught me off guard and kind of messed me up with the Icy Wind strategy. And Mega Altaria's base stats is pretty interesting just because it's very well rounded. For example, 110 in attack, defense, and special attack. Altaria goes for Protect. That is perfect for me. That was the one thing I was really hoping my opponent, you know, might make that misplay and go for it, because I do pick up the knockout on Raikou and I still have 2 more turns of Tailwind left. So that made this game so much not easier to win. It puts me in such a better position, because not only did I knock out Raikou, I didn't lose my Bisharp. As Staraptor is my opponent's last Pokemon. Does it have Intimidate? It does. Nice. So that's gonna give me the Defiant boost, obviously. Let's see. Staraptors tend to be choice, so I'm just gonna Sucker Punch here, I think, to try to pick up the knockout and Ice Beam the Altaria. Sucker Punch should knock it out. And he doesn't Protect, does go for an attack. Will it knock it out? Perfect, it will. So that ended up playing out alright. I was scared of a potential Staraptor in the back had I lost my Bisharp the last turn. I guess we'll find out whether Ice Beam can knock out here or not. I don't expect it to, but... Oh, would have picked up a KO, okay. So I am going to be able to win this game. I think my opponent had a really cool team. It's definitely cool to feature Mega Altaria, Raikou in the episode. And of course, Mega Altaria is only 2 times weak to Ice, and I don't know, it has decent special defense, and I don't invest that much in special attacks, so I wasn't sure if it could KO or not. But I guess I did end up picking up the knockout there. So I guess I was worrying for nothing, but of course I did not know my Mega Altaria damage calculations too well, because that was actually the very first time I've played against Mega Altaria. So we're gonna pick up a win in the first game of today's episode, jumping to 1828. So of course, as you guys may remember from a couple of episodes ago, we were at like 1860, so it's nice to finally slowly be climbing back up, just because I fell all the way down to like 1770 or 60. So slowly making our way back up. But that was a really fun game. The Raikou was really scary, especially with Tailwind support. Like, Life Orb Thunderbolt is just such a powerful attack. There are not many Pokemon in the VGC 15 format that can take Thunderbolts, especially stab boosted Life Orb ones. And then, of course, I didn't bring Mega Venusaur either. Ultimately, that actually might have been the right call, just because I needed all the offense I could have gotten. Although Heatran didn't really come into the match, I guess, so having any of those 3 in the back could have helped out. But in the end, I'm very pleased with how that game played out, basically. I think the really defining point was protecting with Bisharp there, because had my opponent knocked out Bisharp, I wouldn't have had the main means of offense I was kind of relying on to win the match. So Bisharp is one of those Pokemon you really need to play carefully with, because it's so strong, but one poor read, one opportunity for your opponent to come into the match to knock it out, and you're done for, because Bisharp really can't take attacks. You know, it's one hit KO'd by most super effective attacks. Even neutral attacks do around 50% or more. As our second opponent of the day is going to be a 1588 rated player from Japan after searching for a while, with a team of, oh man, today is just all these awesome, crazy Pokemon. Banette, which I assume is the Mega Evolution, Togekiss, Infernape, Bisharp, Landorus T, and Gastrodon. Oh man, oh man, oh man. That is interesting for sure. I think Venusaur is really good in this match if I could eliminate the Togekiss, just because my Venusaur is so defensive. It can Giga Drain to knock out the Gastrodon. Landorus can't do very much against it, so definitely going to want to feature Venusaur this time around. I'm thinking of leading Gengar just because it can't get faked out. It can Will-O-Wisp, of course, like always, Taunt, etc. I'm actually tempted to pair it up with Suicune. Yeah, that's a really solid duo, I think. I feel pretty good about that. Yep, Venusaur in the back, and I'm thinking Bisharp for my last one. Though Heatran's kind of tempting too, though, I don't know. Heatran doesn't fare well against Gastrodon, nor Infernape, nor Landorus T, so you know what, I'm going to go with Bisharp. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this game, because Mega Banette, I guess today's just the episode of all these new Megas. I mean, I would assume that's Mega Banette. Also, a Pokemon in VGC that I've never seen really used effectively. It was allowed in VGC last year, but basically no one used it. It's also one of those Megas that people ask me about, and I personally don't think is very good, but Altaria definitely gave me a scare that last match, so, you know, it's cool to be fighting new Pokemon every time. So I'm going to go with Gengar and Suicune against the Gastrodon and the Bisharp. Not a very good lead matchup here for me, actually. Especially because Suicune just doesn't want to be in this position right now. I'm thinking I want to Will-O-Wisp the Bisharp and switch Suicune out into Venusaur. Actually, yeah, that play makes a lot of sense to me, so I'm just going to pull this. Now the issue here is I need to knock out the Gastrodon before I can even touch my opponent's Bisharp. Because of the Storm Drain from Gastrodon. So this Gastrodon is actually quite problematic for me. Okay, good Protect there from the Bisharp. So we're probably going to see it like a Scald going into the Gengar, as Will-O-Wisp unfortunately is going to fail there. An Icy Wind coming out, even a better move from my opponent. Wow, that's really scary for me. These speed control moves are just nuts, man. That was such a good play on my opponent's end. Wow. I can't stress how good of a play that was. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I think we're going to see a knockoff into Gengar. Or maybe into the Venusaur? Because I want to bait another Icy Wind out from the Gastrodon so I could switch into my Bisharp and get a Defiant boost. That would be really nice right now. I don't want to just lose Gengar. It's not like I can really switch in Suicune or Bisharp to a knockoff either. You know what? I'm going to switch in Bisharp should my opponent Icy Wind and punish it and go for the Giga Drain directly onto Gastrodon. But we might see Gastrodon switch out here, actually. So, Gastrodon with Icy Wind actually very, very irritating to deal with. So Gengar's going to switch out. The fact that it went before my opponent's Pokemon, I think it means Gastrodon's going to stay in, unless, of course, Gastrodon... Okay, it is going to switch out. So I would have been able to outspeed it, but that indicates to me we're going to see the knockoff going into that slot. So Togekiss comes in. My opponent's making really good plays right now. I should have, like, Leech Seeded there, Sludge Bomb, predicting that. This is really tough. Oh, the Iron Head actually comes out onto Venusaur. Okay. Life Orb coming out, no surprise there. On a Flinch, unfortunately. I mean, it's not like Giga Drain would have done much there, but Flinch is never too great to deal with, obviously, so... Tough position to be in. I'm just gonna Iron Head and get the Leech Seed off here. Bisharp should be faster than Togekiss. So ideally I could pick up a knockout here. It might Protect, but I should get a Leech Seed off. Yeah, okay, it does go for the Protect. But that's fine. As we do see another Iron Head coming out into the Venusaur. Should not knock me out. Yeah, hang on barely with 7 HP. Clutch survival there. as Iron Head unfortunately fails there, but hopefully Leech Seed connects here as it does. Now, however, I have to be careful. I need to kind of conserve this Venusaur if I want to win, because that's my best answer to the Gastrodon in the back. I actually don't have any good ways to deal with it otherwise, so I'm going to have to be careful right now. The Protect on Venusaur is kind of obvious right now, but I think I should still go for it. I'm going to Iron Head the but we might see, I would think Togekiss is going to switch out here. So I'm going to predict the switch and go for the knockoff. And withdraw Venusaur into Suicune I want. Or I kind of just want to protect. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to protect here. See what my opponent goes for. Yes, okay, Togekiss does switch out. As I think that's Gastrodon coming back in. Perfect. So if there's another way I could beat this Gastrodon, it's making predictions like that. Though he might have predicted my Protect there. Going for the knockoff into Venusaur though, perfect. And I do get the knockoff against the Gastrodon. That should do a ton of damage. Yeah, that's more than I expected actually, putting it in knockoff KO range. Or another knockoff and I should be able to KO it. So that's good, as this Bisharp's lifespan is also slowly ticking down. So I definitely got myself into a more manageable position, but still gotta make some plays if I want to win this. I'm gonna go for the knockoff onto Gastrodon once again. I'm curious as to whether it carries Protect or not. That's the main question. Gastrodon's one of those Pokemon that can afford to not use Protect in VGC because it is one of those bulky water types, but I think I am, based off what my opponent had in the back, okay, Togekiss, Bisharp, and Gastrodon. Suicune deals with the other three really well, so I might just, but I don't want to sack Gengar here either, so you know what, I'm just gonna bring in Suicune. Yeah, I'll let it get the knockoff off, that's fine. I'm bulky enough as it is. Maybe that wasn't the right play, I don't know. Let's see. But with the Life Orb and the Leech Seed damage picking up, it is, you know, just slowly counting down. Yep, knockoff does go against it. Actually, doesn't do as much as I expected, but Suicune, of course, is really defensive. And knockoff here should knock out my opponent's Gastrodon, as it does. Perfect. And, of course, like I said, that Bisharp and its Life Orb is ticking down as the War of the Life Orb Bisharps here, and Leech Seed is going to continue to pick at that Bisharp's HP. So, that's good. I still have another means of recovery, which is good for Suicune, and now knockoff's damage, of course, is not going to be as much as the previous turn, just because I don't have an item on that Suicune anymore. Of course, wasting the Citrus Berry, but wow, my opponent just bringing in Landorus T here. Just going for it. Giving me the Defiant boost. I am not going to complain about that. Now let's see what it wants to go for. Actually, I think I've got my opponent kind of cornered. I'm gonna protect here. You can't really knock out the Suicune, so I'm gonna Tailwind. I think we might see some Rock Slides come up from Landorus, and the reason why I'm not too worried about my position is because if the Landorus wants to... Landorus is faster than his Bisharp, right? So, the only issue here is me losing my Suicune, and my opponent doesn't have a way to KO this Suicune without using Earthquake. I don't think so, at least. Yep, Sucker Punch fails there. EQ coming out, so my opponent expecting me to attack. Not gonna work out, as I'm gonna be able to set up a Tailwind, and my opponent just knocked out his own Bisharp. So, hey, I'm not gonna mind that at all. So making some big plays here. Suicune's gonna be able to get up the Tailwind. So that was a relatively safe play for me. The only issue was if Landorus went for a Rock Slide or if he crit with the attacks. But the thing is, Landorus can't deal with Suicune very effectively, as my opponent's last one is gonna be that Togekiss, of course. So definitely feel pretty good about my position right now, having gotten that Tailwind up. So I'm just gonna Iron Head the Togekiss and Ice Beam Landorus, yeah. But my opponent's just going to forfeit at 4-2, knowing that, you know, I had the Defiant boost. So, good game to my opponent there. Did not see the Banette, unfortunately, come out, or the Infernape, which were two of the more interesting bonds. But, I think that was a nice game to feature, you know, coming back from deficits. I felt like the first turn played out really poorly for me, but getting the Bisharp in was kind of crucial, and my opponent didn't have many good ways to actually deal with Bisharp. Now that I think about it, Togekiss couldn't hit it. Landorus T, of course, would have given it the Defiant boost. You know, of course, Bisharp can't really do too much with Bisharp, though. Knockoff with Life Orb actually does a good amount given how frail Bisharp is. And then of course Gastrodon was the one Pokemon, but I feel like I really nailed it by predicting the Togekiss switch out. So that was really the turning point of that battle, and it gave me a way to really get back into this match. So sometimes, you know, you do need to make those predictions when you fall behind. But two really fun games today. That first one was definitely awesome, the Raikou, the Altaria, and all that. But fun second game as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I mentioned earlier, there should be another episode going up very soon today, so keep your eyes open for that if you do want more VGC 15 content, since I did miss out on yesterday. And yeah, winning Apex was awesome, so I'll be doing a tournament report and whatnot very soon. Anyway, that's it for today's video, guys, but of course there will be another one tonight. So that's it, and I'll see you then. Alright, peace.